Hey, welcome to another edition of Strategic Moves with Lou. I'm Mike Hendren, a licensed real estate agent here in Wichita Falls, Texas with Strategic Realty. And seated next to me is Lou Italis, the owner-broker of Strategic Realty. How you doing today?
Grr.
Cold. It's very cold. Yeah.
It went from 70 degrees yesterday to, what is it now, like 30, 40 degrees?
And we're 32 as of
And
the moment we're doing this show.
Yeah.
32 degrees with sleet moving this way. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, yesterday I saw on a like weather bug
radar,
or something.
Yeah.
And it had Wichita Falls winter weather or winter storm warning, 70 degrees. I thought only in Wichita Falls would you have that, where you've got a winter storm warning out in effect, which took effect officially at 9 o'clock last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 70 degrees at that moment. It's crazy. Crazy.
It was a little bit windy, but it didn't like, scare me up.
The wind started to shift about 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
And by 4 a.m. this morning, it was blowing pretty good. And we've got gusts 17, 18 miles an hour. So the wind chills are already way low.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, come Saturday, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So if you haven't winterized your home yet, you got about 10 minutes. So, by the time you see this, it'll be over with. So don't worry about it. Anyway, just don't worry about it now. So anyway, we try to talk all things real estate on this show. Sometimes it strays off, and we end up chasing rabbits or something. But
we go down the rabbit hole.
We go down the rabbit hole. But today we're going to talk a little bit about. I want to start with contingencies and explain to people, Lou, exactly what is a contingency in a real estate contract. And what types of contingencies can you get into, and let's talk a little bit about how they impact the buyer and the seller.
Okay, well, pretty much every contract is going to be contingent upon something, unless it's a cash offer, and it's not contingent upon the option period or, anything else. There's no appraisal, there's no surveys, there's nothing. Even the title commitment can be considered a contingency in the contract itself.
Right.
Because everything is, negotiable.
Right.
So, but the most common contingency is going to be a financing contingency. And that's where the buyer says, I'll buy this property if I can get my loan.
Right. And then sometimes with a cash situation, you'll run into one. I've got one like this right now, in fact, where the buyer needs to sell their existing home.
Yes.
So that they can then turn around and for cash purchase your home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
so see, even with a cash offer, there's contingencies.
Right. and of course, and if it works out that they can't sell their home, well, then they can't buy your home.
Yeah. Usually in the contract, if you do the contingency addendum, it gives the buyer some days, or I think it's like 3 business days. You have to notify the seller that you're not able to sell your property, or there's an actual date that you have to sell your property, or at least be in contract by this date.
Right. And if you can't, well, then the deal is dead.
Well, not necessarily that it's dead, simply that now you got to go back to the table.
Yeah.
If you get past that date, you'd be like, okay, well, can we get an extension, put another few days on there, so that the deal isn't dead. It's not.
So you can amend the contract.
You can amend it and make changes to it. It's all very kind of relative
but
to whatever the buyer and the seller are willing to do.
But would you say that's probably the most common contingency in a cash sale is that one?
Well, not just cash sales. I mean, you can get a contingency to sell another property with a financed contract
like
as well.
If you're trading up, if you're trying to go from the $100,000 house to the $300,000 house, that kind of
your lender will pretty much determine whether or not you can keep that other property, or if you have to sell it before you can purchase your property. Because see, there's different levels. So let's say you have enough money in the bank, or your job is high enough that you don't need to sell that other property in order to get another mortgage.
Right.
However, most lenders, if you're doing FHA or VA, they're going to want you to sell that property to be able to purchase another one, because it's all depending upon your debt to income ratio.
Right.
So if your debt to income rate, and then FHA and VA have other rules, but I mean, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
We'll leave that one for another show.
Yeah. So basically, the lender is going to look at your debt to income ratio.
Right.
So if your debt to income ratio, meets or exceeds their threshold, then they're going to require that you sell that property before you can buy another one.
Right. Because most people really can't. I say most people. more often than not, people cannot get themselves into a situation, or they can't afford to get themselves into a situation where they've got 2 mortgage payments.
Right. If
And
their
that's
income
what you
doesn't,
Yeah.
you know, if they can't afford it, then obviously you don't want to get yourself into that situation.
And that's what you would end up with if you
Yeah.
don't sell yours first. Well, you're going to have your original mortgage on your home you're trying to sell, plus this new one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do find yourself in a situation where it takes you several months to sell your property, that can put you in quite a bind financially.
And that's where it's important to really list your property competitively.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I mean, yes, it's great to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 above asking price.
Right.
Or you know, even just asking price, giving you that buffer of $20,000 or $30,000
Sure.
so that you can pay your bills or whatever, you know, whatever it is that you intend to do with the proceeds.
Yeah.
But if you really want that other property, sometimes you have to get a little creative and be a little bit willing to give up those extra funds if it's not selling really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
With this market, it's just crazy. I mean, it can
It
go.
is
It
a
can
weird
go.
market.
It can go topsy turvy in a second.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has to do with listing the property for the right price at the onset.
Right. Making it attractive.
Yeah, making it an attractive listing. I mean, some people's houses are selling, you know, before they even go on the market practically, and some are taking 2 or 3 months to sell. So, and there's really no pattern to it. I mean, there's no way that we can forecast how this is going to go on the market. I mean, sometimes you can if it's you know, something that you walk in and it's absolutely fantastic. But I mean, even that is just kind of crazy to think about, because I've had properties where it's an REO and it looks like caca.
Yeah.
And it sells faster than my one that has everything brand new, everything updated.
Just move into it.
You know, so move-in ready.
Yeah.
Beautiful home, and it stays on the market for 2 or 3 months.
Well, and this is, you know, this is the thing too. You know, we can look at the comps in the area.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at you know, what does it cost to build this home today? You know,
Replacement value.
Replacement value. There's all these different things you can look at, and there's formulas you can come up with. But again, it really the market is so bizarre. You really it is hard to predict where one house is going to be versus another. It just it's tough right now, and the market it's been weird for a while now, and it doesn't seem to be showing any signs of changing anytime soon, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, one of my agents, and we were talking about this earlier, one of my agents in Dallas-Fort Worth area listed his property that he had tried to sell for his sellers 2 years ago, and it had stayed on the market for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months, and nobody gave him an offer or anything like that. And there was some drawbacks to it because it's right next to apartment complex, and it's, you know, right near a major highway or a major, you know, road or whatever. And so it was struggling because of that. But meanwhile, I think it was on the weekend, he put it as coming soon in Netris, and that same day he had 3 offers. And he told me that just this morning, he was like, I was on the phone with another agent at 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Talking about this property, and nobody's even seen the house because it hasn't shown. And he's already got 3 offers above asking price.
But that's just how competitive the market has become. You know, you find a house you like. If you don't make a move on it quickly, it's probably not going to be available.
Yeah.
You know,
But this is a house that was undesirable 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden it's like hot. I mean, it's like you can't even touch it.
Yeah. And that probably has a lot to do with just available inventory, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is available inventory. It could be that there's a lot of people that are relocating to the area where that house is located. Yeah. And I mean, there's tons of variables that could be going on with these properties.
Well, we know a lot of people are moving to Texas, and it's
a lot of jobs are being created.
Yeah, a lot of jobs, and a lot more people are going to come here, and so you're going to find yourself more and more, but yeah, you know, more often than not, you're gonna find yourself in some kind of contingent situation, with the property, whether it's cash or finance or or even VA or FHA perhaps. But then that again that goes into a whole other area. And very often we do find a lot of sellers that don't want to go. They don't want to consider an FHA or VA or USDA because there's certain criteria that have to be met. There's certain cost that the buyer can't pay that they ask the seller to pay, and that can get expensive. They can get into some money. It really can. So let's talk a little bit about with sellers marketing. How important is marketing your property? Really, it kind of depends on the market condition, doesn't it? I mean, like right now, well, you take for example, your house.
Sneeze and you can sell your house.
Yeah, the property you were just talking about in the Dallas area that the agent's got. You know, 2 years ago, couldn't get an offer on it. Puts it up as coming soon. It's not even officially listed yet. Got 3 offers like that. Didn't really have to do much marketing on that other than just saying, hey, this is going to be available in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And there it is.
Real estate agents, we have this amazing platform, and it's usually our MLS system. And our MLS system will allow us to put the property on the market, and it goes directly to your internet. It goes directly to the web, to the internet. I don't know why I'm struggling with that word. But it goes directly to the internet, and it goes to various sources. So it goes to Realtor.com. Realtor.com is going to be always the one that you want to go to because that's going to be the most accurate information. Yeah. And then it'll also go to Zillow and Trulia, and it might go to every agent's individual website because there's something called IDX where we can actually capture the data on our personal websites. On the back end, and so if you go to a realtor's website and you see one of those little search bars and you fill in your criteria that you're looking for, all of the properties in MLS are going to show up on their website. It may not be their listing, but it's going to show up on their website. So already we're kind of like marketing your property from the outset. Just putting it in MLS markets your property. However, there's other things that that your real estate agent can also do. They can put it on social media platforms, marketplace. Sure. There's plenty of places that you can actually advertise your property, which reminds me, you could probably put your lady's property on marketplace on Facebook. That might give her some more hits. And then there's also TV stations that will do little blurbs of homes that are on the market that you can pay advertising for, and it's not very expensive. It's only like $78 or something like that for it to show over the weekend. Yeah,
you'll see a lot of times locally. You'll be able to buy a sponsorship in a weather forecast or some special feature that's embedded in the newscast or whatever. They'll sell feature items, and and those are usually relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, I think we pay like $78 for every listing that we put up there every once in a while, just to keep our name out there and stuff like that.
So there's a variety of ways you can market a property. Probably one of the biggest ways, though, again, through the MLS, and then also just through your connections as an agent. You're going to have connections with other agents
exactly. So whenever we do our office meeting, we usually would talk about other listings that we might have coming soon or already on the market, or if you're having so a lot of it's relationships and word of mouth. Yeah. So you might have a listing that Tamara had a client that was looking for exactly that. Call her and talk to her. So a lot of it's about communication with other agents and within your office.
Another big one too, and I don't know if it's as big as it used to be, but open houses. That's another marketing tool.
Another marketing tool that we use in order to promote the properties and to get buyers, and that can be very beneficial. There's a lot of states that are actually not doing them anymore, or not as much. Right now we could do virtual tours. There's so many other ways to do this as well. So you can go live on Facebook and show the property like that as well for marketing purposes. Yeah. There's a history of a lot of weird crimes with open houses. So sometimes agents don't like doing them so much because people don't really show up, or the people that do show up are not people that we want to talk to. Yeah. But, every house is different. Every situation is different. If you want an open house, then by all means tell your real estate agent that you want an open house, because that is going to drive, that is going to, just the marketing itself for
Sure.
that open house. Because whenever we have an open house, we list it in MLS as having an open house. So that gets more visibility for your property. It advertises almost for it. It'll send it to the different websites. It'll send it to realtor.com. It'll put it on the open houses page and stuff like that. So you are going to get additional advertising from that.
Speaking of marketing with social media, do you think personally, does it have the impact it once did? I mean, I would think that probably when social media was still, we'll use Facebook as an example because it is the biggest one out there. When Facebook was still fresh 15, 16, 17 years ago and was still the hottest new thing on the block, I think there's probably a good chance it was much more effective then than it is today. Would you agree or disagree?
Yes, because there wasn't probably such an oversaturation of it. Right now, everybody and their monkey's uncle is posting on Facebook and posting their listings on Facebook. So sometimes it gets to be, where you're just scrolling through and you're just kind of going, rah. You're not even really looking at the listings anymore. So, to an extent, I think sometimes that can be it's always good to put it out there, especially because your buyers or your sellers will feel good about it. They'll feel like you're really getting the word out, and you are. You are getting the word out. But how effective that's going to be versus another real estate agent showing your property, I don't really know that there's enough data out there for us to really say that social media sells your property.
Yeah. I think it's probably, I think the oversaturation is probably the most critical thing there. Is there really is just, it's like everything else in your news feed on your social media. You're just inundated with information. You're drinking from a fire hose all the time. And it's hard it's much, much more difficult today to pinpoint things that is as the recipient of the information. Like you said, you're just scrolling. It's hard for things to catch your eye the way maybe they once did, because there's just so much of it out there. So I think if you're going to market that way, if you're going to use social media to market, you got to try to set yourself apart somehow.
That's the key. Most real estate agents have a hard time setting themselves apart, whether it's there's no real magic formula for it.
Yeah. I think maybe, and this is probably directed more at the real estate agents than anybody else, is sometimes it helps to have a fresh set of eyes on the problem. Someone who is not directly connected to that.
Like a marketing guru?
Some kind of marketing guru, someone who can look at it from a different angle than you do. Who can look at it with a different set of eyes than you do. It's and I do marketing myself, but I'm biased when I've got a listing up there.
It's your listing.
It's my listing, and there's certain things that I want to do, but it's what I'm doing necessarily the most beneficial thing to do.
The most
productive. Is it going to produce the best results? Is it going to get are you going to get, so from a marketing standpoint, sometimes it probably would be a good idea, especially when you're talking social media and there is just such a flood of product and information out there, to consult with someone who, again, has an unbiased view of it and can look at it from a different perspective than you do as the professional, and can give you some tips on what you should be doing or should not be doing.
One thing that I would recommend, and I don't know how effective this would be, but I've found that highlighting one feature of the property is a good way to market the property. So, for instance, look at your own house. What is your most for you? What is your most favorite feature of the house?
Right. Yeah. What do you love about it?
Yeah. Is it the giant bedroom, or is it the jet tub in the master bathroom, or just one feature of the property, whether it's solar panels or just focus on that one feature, and you'll find people that are looking specifically for that, and could overlook other things that might be wrong with the property, or so forth.
And I have seen some things featured in some promotions, like on social media, that I look at and go, why did you post that picture? And I saw one the other day, and it was this happened to be a for sale by owner in the Dallas-Fort Worth market.
Yeah.
And one of the images, they've got a pool.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure at one time it was a very nice swimming pool. It's about half full of water.
Oh.
And the water is green. This thing has got algae on top of algae.
Farm.
It's an algae farm. And you can tell that the pool hasn't been maintained. The physical area.
Why would they even put that picture in there?
Why?
I just don't.
Exactly. Why did you even do that? Why would you even post that picture?
Or I'll see pictures with bathrooms and stuff, and the bathroom toilet sitting there with wide up, the toilet seats up, and why even take a picture of a toilet anyway?
You can almost smell that picture.
Yeah, it just that's another big thing for me is pictures. If you're going to take a picture of a property, you need to know what you're doing. 99% of the time, it's always better to get somebody to come and take photographs of the property, unless you are proficient with photography. So we do have several agents in our office that are proficient with it. So we don't have somebody in-house that does all of our professional photography, but I do have somebody that does professional photography. And if I have a listing that I really want to get better pictures than I could produce, then I would contact that person. And usually I do. So
and that's really another big part of the marketing aspect is the quality of the photos, not just the content of the photos, but the quality of the outcome of the photo itself. Sometimes you got to run them through some filters, you got to make some changes, you got to Photoshop them a little bit to improve them. And the reason you do that is... My favorite
are night pictures. Have you ever seen some of the listings, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? Yeah. They take some amazing night pictures. Yeah. All the lights and the sunset, not night, but like sunset, like right at dusk. Yeah. Oh, I just love how, I don't know why it, whenever I see a property that has some night pictures on there.
Yeah, if you happen to have a home.
Every single one of those.
If you happen to have a home that... We didn't even get 10 minutes.
10 minutes out of all of this. How many? I'm going to have to be sitting there going, and you're the one that's getting up and down. Terry said he should be here in a minute. What did we do to fix it last time? I don't remember.
I don't recall. I'm concerned that it's overheating again.
Is it hot?
It doesn't feel hot. That doesn't mean it's not warm internally too. So we're still recording over there. So we're gonna we got to conclude this. This may end up being a 27-minute feature instead of 30. So
I don't even know how many.
Okay. Yeah, if you have. Okay.
Why don't we just wait for Terry to get here?
Well, crap.
Where are you headed after this?
I got to go get fuel, and I've got to go pick up. I've got to go pick up a couple things at Home Depot, and yeah, it's fixing to be on top of us. I mean, like, really on top of us.
What's the weather like now?
Well, I mean, there's the radar.
Is it raining already?
Yeah, that's all freezing rain and sleet in the pink right there.
It doesn't even sound like there's any rain out there.
It's probably not hitting the ground yet, but it will be. Here, we're gonna at least get the radio portion of it completed here. Yeah, if you've got a property that looks like like the house from Amityville Horror, for example. I really wouldn't advise night pictures of that.
Oh,
That could be
that
a little.
would be fantastic. I love seeing some night pictures of that.
I'm not sure how well that's
so
going to sell. Because
you know what people are crazy.
I know that.
People are freaking bonkers.
I
They
know
will
that.
buy some
Super sketchy stuff. Yeah.
caca. What? Yeah. What?
I
I want to say another word, but I can't.
I've shown one or two of these properties that I look at and go, how would you market this? It is so bad. It's so horrible. I mean, it literally, it looks like a garbage dump was dropped off in the house.
Somebody just went blah.
And it's like, how do you even begin to market this? But there are those investors that want those houses.
Yeah.
They want those.
They see the potential, or they feel like they're going to get their best bang for their buck.
Yeah.
If they get that property.
Well, it goes right back to the idea, the adage that one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I mean, just because you think it's a horrible property doesn't mean everybody's going to think that. And so there's always that very real positive. No matter how bad it is, there's somebody out there that's going to buy it. There's somebody out there that's going to take it and potentially take it to a whole other level for you, really. So, well, guys, if you're looking to buy or sell property, we would love to help you with that task. And it can be a task, and it doesn't have to be one that you should navigate all by yourself. You need to hire a professional to help you get through this process.
Even we need to hire professionals sometimes to get through the process. I mean, so it's important that we acknowledge that there is something, for individually. It's important that we acknowledge that there's something that we don't really understand or that we can't figure. Even if you've sold a property before, because I get this with for sale by owners all the time. Yeah. If you sell, I've sold my properties. I've sold 5 properties. I know how to do this. Well, good for you. Yeah. First of all, congratulations. You know what you're doing. However, you may not particularly know what you're doing. Yeah. Because there's so many times where I've talked to for sale by owners and I've said, and they have their house listed, and I'm like, you are underperforming because you're losing money.
That's right.
You're leaving money on the table. Yeah. Even if you had to pay me a commission, I could still get you more for that property than what you're getting right now.
Right.
Or you have your house overpriced. Yes. And it's going to be on the market for 6 months. And then in 2 months, you're going to call a real estate agent and you're going to ask for us to help you. And that's going to hurt your property more than help it, because now your property's been on the market, however you've put it on there, for 2 months, and now people have already seen it. They didn't like it, or whatever the case may be. They've already seen it. So if you contact a real estate agent first, we can do our marketing guru stuff and surprise the public with your property rather than waiting until. No, it's still gone. It's still dead.
We're just wrapping up the audio portion here.
But so even if you do have a for sale by owner, it's probably a better idea if you talk to a real estate agent first and get an idea of what it is that you're looking for.
Should. Well, if you want to reach out to us, you can call me directly. It's Mike Handren with Strategic Realty, 940-232-3876, or you can call the office, and that number is
940-689-7900.
Right, and you can also go to strategicrealty.net. You can take a look at the properties we've got listed there. And, of course, you can always follow us on this program. You can listen to it every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. on 96.3 FM and 1290 AM News Talk Radio. You can listen to it online. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're all over the place with this thing. There's all kinds of ways and you can go back and listen to previous episodes.
Exactly.
Watch
get some live
episodes.
Content on our Facebook page, because I do post some live content on there too.
Yes, she does. So anyway, do reach out to us. Let us help you sell your property or help you find that property that you're looking to buy. Let us help you with the process. Again, strategicrealty.net is the website. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We'll see you down the road.
Subscribe, like, and share.